Hi, I'm Cherie Lindbergh, and welcome to Elevated Life Academy, where we share real stories of healing, hope, and transformation. Tune in to hear how everyday people are rising above and lighting the way for others. Hello, everybody. This is another episode of Elevated Life Academy, and I am your host, Cherie Lindbergh, and we have Jessica Maitri with us today, and I'm going to let her introduce herself. And like we do on this podcast, who knows where we're going to go? We're going to talk about her journey. She's going to share about Yothera, and then we're going to see where this takes us. So without further ado, Jessica, please come on and introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Awesome. Thanks, Cherie.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to be here. My name's Jessica Maitri. I'm based in Boise, Idaho. I've been a licensed clinical social worker in private practice for about 15 years. Um, I'm also a yoga therapist and a brain spotting consultant, and I also offer trainings called the Yothera Method, which we can talk about in a little bit for CEs, and that's definitely my passion. So,
Yeah, well, thank you. So let's talk about your journey to Yothera. Like, how did this all come to be? Explain what it is so that, because this is a podcast about helping people live an elevated life. And so you have found this method to be very helpful. You teach it, you have a facilitator program. So talk all about that, please.
Okay. So yeah, the journey with Yothera started actually during COVID. So a lot of people that I've talked to had what I call COVID babies. Like we birthed things into the world during that time, and Yothera was I call it my COVID baby. And there was a 6-month period of time where, I think I can talk candidly here, but like I was receiving what I call downloads from a higher consciousness. And so a lot of what the Yothera is was organized during that time, during 2020 and 2021. And it really is, it's a really more of like an energetic attunement, actually, that happened. That's actually the feedback that I've gotten from practitioners that have gone through the program is this feels more like an energy attunement, almost like Reiki, but different. So the Yothera method itself is a 3-phase journey that teaches practitioners how to help their clients rewrite their old stories of the mind into a new story through embodiment, intuition. And we do that through a lot of different ways, like yoga therapy practices, embodiment practices, free movement. There's a lot there, but yeah.
So tell me the title, Yothera. I'm sure there's a meaning behind it. So please share about that.
So Yothera was a combination of the words yoga and therapy. And so, yes, I know. It's like funny. I assume people know that, and I'm like, they probably don't know that actually. So yeah, so the word yoga, people think of the poses like the asanas, and actually the word yoga means union of body, mind, and spirit. So the Yothera method really is a holistic approach to it's bringing the body into therapy. And so I had been a yoga therapist for about 7 years before this really kind of came into my practice as a mental health therapist. So
Okay. So did you just start out teaching it? Like how did you go from that to then I'm going to have facilitators?
yeah, good question. Well, it came through, and then it was like, well, what do I do with it? And it was really clear to me that I was meant to teach other professionals how to do it, because I was having other therapists in my town refer their clients to me for yoga therapy. And I was like, okay, but I could also teach you how to do this. And so I started to realize that was more the calling. And actually, back in 2021, I went to get CEs, and it did get accredited for CEs. Back then, it was like 50 something CEs. It was crazy. And then it got dropped, and there's a whole story there. Um, and then now it got picked back up by you, and it's like this, like phase 2 of this journey of like, keep going, just keep going. So it's just been a labor of love, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. Well, please let's talk about this journey, because there not only are there going to be people that are going to be interested in this healing practice, but there's also going to be entrepreneurs and business people that are interested in their baby, right? And so talk about the journey, because I know what it's like to create and go through the whole process of getting CEs and creating a manual and all that, just like you're doing. So talk a little bit. What was that like for you? And really get specific, because I'm sure there were times when you're like, how did you keep going and persist? Yeah.
Yeah. I you'll probably understand this, and many people listening probably will too, but I started to discern like what my ego wanted versus what spirit wanted me to do with this, because it was such a big I literally had postpartum after birthing this, and
Mm-hmm.
as it was strange, it really came through, and then it was here and I was like, well, what do I do with it? And then there was some lag time of like, what do I do? What am I supposed to do with all of this? And that's something people don't really talk about when they bring big things into the world, that there is a dip and it's not all
Mm-hmm.
up. And
Mm-hmm.
so there was a dip, and then I'd get support and I'd put, I'm a single solopreneur. And
Mm-hmm.
so I was putting all of my money into this and my energy. And it took off for a little bit, and then I lost the CEs, not based on anything I did, but just based on some behind the scenes stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I really kind of gave up. Like in
Mm-hmm.
2023, I was like, this is like taking all of my energy, all of my money, all of my, and I was just like, I think I just prayed and said, if I'm meant to do this, show me. And then it came back around in
Mm-hmm.
2024. I started getting the nudges again. I started getting people interested again, and I wasn't trying. It was coming to me.
Yeah.
So I just feel like it chose me, and I didn't feel like I really had a choice. It's like this is something that I brought to the world, and now I need to tend to it. And
Mm-hmm.
so here we are.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's really important. I mean, I do understand what you're saying, but I think it's really important to talk to, like, what kept you listening to the
Mm.
nudges, because I think people get those whispers and people get those nudges, but then you get these blocks that get in the way. And so what kept you tending to the nudges and the whispers that you were hearing?
Really what kept me going was it was so exciting. Like the nudges were like, oh my, like I could feel my soul light up with joy when those like the door, the knockers would come,
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, what are you doing? And it felt so joyful that I feel like that's what I followed. And then
Mm-hmm.
when it wasn't joyful, sometimes I still did follow because I believed in the bigger vision. So
Mm-hmm.
I do believe in like persistence is key with
Mm-hmm.
boundaries with these kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I don't know if that answered your question.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what were some things that, even when there was a dip, what were some things that you did or what happened that got you back like on track with persistence?
Yeah. Um, what got me back on track, I remember when I had a dip, and the Yothera method itself was just, it felt like it was dead in the water. There was nothing happening. I wasn't inspired. And so what I did is I set it over here, and then I started doing like workshops that were still Yothera related, but I would do them in person at a home studio, or I would do some webinars not for CE. So I stayed involved in the energy of it without pushing like the training program as much. So I
Mm-hmm.
tried to keep myself in the energy of what was authentic to me, and that felt joyful and felt fun, and as much as I could, and then as that would kind of bring this back. So it was kind of like this balancing act.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah. Well, I mean, just listening to what you're saying, it almost sounds like, I don't know what else to call it, but maybe there was this limbo or learning stage, or I don't know what that was,
yeah.
or maybe it was growth trying to happen,
Yes.
and you were still playing around with it. At what point did it go from the limbo stage to, okay, I'm going right back after this?
As you're talking, I'm realizing I think when it stopped doing this so much was when
Mhm.
I healed enough inside to hold it more.
Okay.
Like there's something about you're given these. these downloads or whatever you want to call them. And then almost like I had to grow into it. I had to grow into it. And then once we were more matched, it was like we can grow together. And really brain spotting was part of that, Sheree. Like that was a big part of me anchoring and stabilizing my ability and worthiness to receive it too.
Yeah.
So,
Well, yeah. So you did more personal work.
yep.
And then that connected to like more self-agency or belief or staying grounded in your belief in this project.
Yeah, like I didn't get thrown with self-doubt as much
Yeah,
because that really blocks vision.
absolutely it does. Well, this is where, and I try to, with the folks that I mentor and business owners, it's like, the imposter syndrome is going to come up, any of your insecurities, anytime you're trying to up level into something, or you're going to doubt your ability.
Yeah.
But thank goodness spirit just kept nudging you, and it just kept coming back. And so at some point you really started to listen more, it sounds like.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's timing too, but everything started to move forward. Really, actually, in just the last few months, it was like things started working.
Right.
And however that works, I don't know. Maybe it started reflecting my internal state. I'm not sure, but
Yeah. Yeah. Well, tell us a little bit more. Can you give us some like specifics, like even maybe one of the exercises or something that you put a practitioner through or that you're teaching them about Yothera?
sure. Um, yeah, so Yothera is 3 phases. So I'll tell you something that happens in each phase. So phase 1, it's the mind, and that's really about helping the practitioner learn how to break down the old story of what's really going on. So we use archetypes, we use defense mechanisms, we use some of those things to really get clear on what the old story is. And so there's a lot of shadow work in phase 1. And then phase 2 is embodiment. And that's actually where more of the yoga therapy and movement comes in. And really, a lot of phase 2 is teaching practitioners how simple it actually is to use the body and natural intuition in therapy. So just teaching simple things like tapping into sensations, like getting into the senses as a way to get the client more in their body. So using edge work, like feeling, putting their own body into a position and holding it and being present. Like, for example, it takes at least 30 seconds for the mind and the body to make a connection. And so if we can stay present to whatever's coming up, if you can stay present to that sensation, then more information comes up, which is similar to brain spotting, actually. So.
Yeah. And I can just like, I can imagine some of the positions you're holding, maybe they're a little uncomfortable or they're not a natural pose. And then all of a sudden the narratives start to happen.
Yes.
And you get access to the parts, right?
Exactly. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So it's learning to be the witness of that. And again, it's sort of like the Yothera method teaches the practitioner how to do this for their client, but they're also going through it as a person. So it's very transformative for them too.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. Okay. So was that 3 or?
No, that was phase 2. And then phase 3 is called being seen. It's like the alchemical gold. It's like really solidifying, and I call it embodying the new story. So in phase 2, they get really clear on what is the new story from a higher mind space. And then in phase 3, how do I be witnessed in that in my life? And so there's a lot of partner work. There's a lot of witnessing, learning how to, I call it embodied witnessing. So how to really witness another, and then how to help them bring it into their day-to-day life.
Yeah, which is expansion. Is what,
that's
yeah.
You know, honestly, when I first learned about brain spotting, I was like, they're like married.
Beautiful.
So great.
Well, you are going to be bringing this into the brain spotting community now. You're going to be doing a version of it.
Yeah.
In there. So who knows where else this is going to go.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me more about where you're at now with all of this, because it's been, quite a journey, and you've had to jump through a lot of hoops with all these different processes to make sure you're aligned with this or that or whatever. So where are you at with all of it now?
Well, we worked very hard, didn't we, Sheree, on getting ASWP and NBCC approved. So I'm so excited about that. So the Yothera Method facilitator training, the next one's in February. That
Mhm.
one's approved for ASWB and BCC finally. So I'm
Mhm.
stoked about that.
Mhm.
And then the brain spotting specialty workshop is in January, just that
Mhm.
prior.
Mhm.
So that's exciting. And I'm also doing a Rocky Mountain Brain Spotting Institute webinar in just a couple weeks. So
Good. I think that's great. Yeah.
yeah, so it's just starting to,
Mhm.
reach people that might be interested in learning more. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Mhm. Wonderful.
Yeah.
So, what do you see moving forward for you and for this baby that you've birthed?
I um I really see it reaching more helping professionals and therapists.
Mhm.
So therapists and brain spotting practitioners for sure, but there's also in past cohorts, it's been 50-50 as far as I'll get other wellness practitioners too, like
Mhm.
massage therapists or PT, OT. I've had Reiki,
Mhm.
so it's not just for therapists. So I could
Mhm.
see
I think that's important to know.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. And I really want the two worlds to come together more
Mhm.
anyways, because we
Mhm.
need to learn from each other.
Mhm.
So it's open to all professionals that work one-on-one with people. So
Right. I mean, basic healers. I mean, there's so many
yeah.
different ways of healing. So that's what I'm hearing is that this is something you're offering to healers that are going to help them facilitate and support their clients' healing.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay. And obviously, we have to go first.
Yeah, and that's part of what I mentioned at the beginning is a lot of feedback I've had is like this felt like an attunement, and that's the word.
Yeah.
Like we went through it and it's all of a sudden they transformed, which then up levels who they work
Hmm.
with.
Hmm.
So
So I mean, I know you said this all happened for you in COVID, but where did you pull these ideas from? Like, was it some experiences that you had, or, I mean, I know you were getting downloads on, how to put it all together, but where did the spark start?
it's a good question. A lot of the spark actually happened when I went through my Phoenix Rising yoga therapy training. So that was a
Mhm.
2-year program that I had done I completed it in 2016. And
Okay.
so a lot of this body talk, internal dialogue, I learned a lot of that from
Hmm.
that training. And
Hmm.
obviously the Carl Jung and Rogerian, like Carl Rogers as well, like some of the other work that comes in phase one, I had already learned and was already
Hmm.
incorporating. So really like the spark came in with how do you organize this in a holistic way that's organized for therapists to use.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So I know what archetypes are, but if you could share a little bit about, because some folks are order archetypes, believe it or not. But yeah, could you share a little bit about the different archetypes that as human beings, like we all fit into these different categories?
Yeah, there's actually like thousands of archetypes, but in the Yothera method specifically, we use 12. And that was part of like the what inspired me was like, well, what archetypes do I encounter the most with my clients?
Hmm.
And there were 12 specific archetypes that I was seeing the most of in clients. So I kind of pulled those together. And so an archetype is there's a shadow and a light side to these um oh, how would you say it? They're like characters that show up in all different uh cultures and there's
Hmm.
different names for them, but they show up pretty consistently in all different cultures. So, for example, there's a victim archetype. There's a child. There's like a wounded child archetype. There's
Hmm.
in other cultures you would call it the queen or the king, or
Hmm.
that would be the mother or the father somewhere else. So,
Hmm.
um, yeah, so archetypes, how you work with them is to first be able to identify the shadow, which is the parts of that archetype that are not serving you, but are probably playing a role in your life.
Hmm.
But once you identify that, then you can actually see the gift that they bring, which is the light. And then that actually ends up being the ally for you.
Hmm.
So we don't try and get rid of them. We
Hmm.
actually invite them to be an ally using their light aspects.
Hmm. 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 I mean, really, you're using different language, but you're teaching parts work
Yes.
in
And
many
actually,
in many ways.
I didn't even know about parts work when I, so when this came through, but yes, that's exactly what it is. Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm. So that we can understand, the different parts of us. Like, and accept all of them too. Like you said, not getting rid of them, but to start to see the positive aspects as well. Because sometimes our brain just focuses on the negative.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the victim archetype can actually be your ally to show you where you are being victimized and to stand up for
Mm-hmm.
yourself, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
people don't, they just try and get rid of the victim a lot. And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So again, for our listeners, because all these podcasts are about helping people learn to live an elevated life. Um, can you talk more about how understanding what shadow work is can be helpful to people?
yeah, I mean, I feel like that's kind of the key to living an elevated life. It's being so self-aware and willing to look at blind spots. I mean, that's what it is. It's really getting clear on we all have blind spots. And so archetype work and shadow work is one way that I've found to help you see your blind spots a little more
Mm-hmm.
clearly. And without that, I mean, it's pretty hard to know where you're at as far as your self-awareness journey.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um,
And what's the consequence in your thinking and in your experience of not doing shadow work?
as a practitioner, I feel like the consequence is too big because your job is to hold space and be more self-aware so you can really only meet your clients as far as you've gone. So if you're not elevating yourself and getting clear on your own stuff, it's going to be harder to hold that bigger space for your clients to grow into.
Mhm.
Speaking of the frame, right? So being able
Mhm.
to hold bigger space.
Yeah, and from a client's perspective, what I would share is, you can choose which pain you want. Productive pain is doing the shadow work so that you can release these recycling patterns and understand them and show up differently. Or if you don't do that work, you keep recycling it, and then that's going to be very painful.
Yeah. And you don't know that you're recycling. It's like it's so easy to justify it and right?
Yeah, like here it is again.
Here it is
Right.
again. And here's all the reasons why I should keep it going or it's working
Right.
for me. And so yeah. Yeah.
Can you share one thing or more that the feedback that you've gotten about the workshop and how it's helped people transform their lives?
The training or
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Like which was the pivotal moment for people, or what like really spoke to them and then they experienced a transformation?
Hmm. Well, what's coming to me right now is one of the archetypes is in the Yothera method is called the innocent archetype. And it's actually in IFS terms or internal families, it would be called, I think, your higher self,
Mm-hmm.
actually. So now I'm putting that together right now as we're talking.
Mm-hmm.
But it's called the innocent archetype. And throughout the Yothera method, the invitation is to invite the innocent archetype to be your guide through the journey. And pretty consistently, that has been the turning point for people is
Mm-hmm.
recognizing that that can actually guide them. That can actually, and it's joy. So
Mm-hmm.
joy is the light side of that archetype, and the shadow is shame and guilt and fear.
Mm-hmm.
And so recognizing that can really be what guides them, I think
Mm-hmm.
was a big turning point.
Well, it sounds like, again, just different words are coming from me as I'm listening, that this process is about people like finding their lost selves and coming back to who they truly are
Yes.
as well.
Yeah, the news story, it's old story, new story, but the new story isn't really new. It's just who they've always been. Just it's
Right.
been covered by
Right.
all sorts of
Right. Yeah. Is there anything maybe that I haven't asked you that would be important for our listeners to hear?
nothing's coming to mind, but that I feel like we did it justice.
I just want to say to our listeners that, whether you are a healer, practitioner, you should check it out, not only for your own healing, but for how you hold the space for your clients, because it's going to help expand yourself as a practitioner, but also, help your clients along the way in their healing.